I believe President-elect Donald Trump, as well as his presidential cabinet, should take care of the issue that is low minimum wages in the years 2017 and onwards. The minimum wage is the absolute minimal pay the government allows an employer to pay their workers. The first minimum wage ever set was in 1938, and it was set to 25 cents, roughly $4.15 in 2014. The first minimum wage ever set was when Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed the FLSA, otherwise called the Fair Labor Standards Act. The minimum wage reached its peak in 1968 at $1.6, about $10.75 in 2014 dollars. This can be shown as an increase of 259%. Positive results of President Roosevelt's plans were already being shown in the economy. The production rate increased vastly, and the economy was flourishing, and many people had less financial issues. The economy seemed to be doing well until the late 1980s, when things started to change negatively. This negative change persisted until 2009, when the minimum wage was set to $7.25. Unfortunately, even at $7.25, most workers earning around this pay are still struggling with debt and can barely keep food on the table for their families. Families living under these conditions are having issues because even though the cost of living and the cost of products has risen, the minimum wage has not, and it has stagnated over the past about 7 years. In order for minimum wage earners to at least grasp normal living, they need to work more than twice as much as middle wage earners do, and even then, they are still in debt, causing many minimum wage or around minimum wage earners to revolt. In fact, a recent study showed that in order for one to live normally and survive inside the cheapest county in the USA, $10.20 would be needed. Not even the minimum wage, which is $10.10 that was proposed by the FLSA. If average living in the most affordable county in America requires $10.20 per hour, imagine what kind of life someone who earns $2.95 less than that and lives in a pricey area would have. The main and most constant argument that business owners use is that if the minimum wage is raised, less workers would be hired in order to pay their workers enough money, or they would be forced to increase the price of merchandise in order to make some profit. On the other hand, 75 economists, including 7 Nobel laureates, endorsed a higher minimum wage. If a reasonable minimum wage was set, it would put some money into the pockets of struggling workers, which they would eventually spend, of course, since they can't afford to save the money. This would dramatically increase the demand of products, and that would mean business owners would need more people, meaning more employees, to make those products, creating about 85,000 jobs. The profit that is then generated could be used to pay those workers. Therefore, business owners could afford to put a reasonable price on merchandise. That would again cause that business to receive more customers. Not only would business owners and workers benefit from a minimum wage raise, the government would also taste the fruits of a raise in the minimum wage. If workers made more money, not that many people would need to depend on welfare and other financial assistances such as food stamps. In fact, in 2014, the Economic Policy Institute reported that if the minimum wage was set to $10.10 as the FLSA proposed in 2014, other than $7.25, more than 1.7 million Americans wouldn't depend on public assistance programs, saving the U.S. government about $7.6 billion per year. Even though Although the federal minimum wage has remained unchanged since 2009, our country has made progress. 21 states, as well as DC, have raised their minimum wages. Foreign countries have also raised their minimum wages, and they have seen the economic benefits of their decision. I, as a student and as an American citizen, request that our federal minimum wage is raised by our new president and his cabinet.